Hi, I'm Diane Poole Heller, and I'm a psychotherapist specializing in trauma recovery and the healing of early attachment wounds, especially as they affect our adult relationships. I'd like to spend the next couple hours with you really exploring how we can uncover and discover and free our deepest and most truest self, as well as how we can connect in our relationships with more intimacy, authenticity, and a safer vulnerability. This is a relatively big job because many of us are pretty used to looking at our cognitions, our belief systems, our emotions, even our body sensations, even our connection to our spiritual selves. But Dan Siegel calls learning to truly connect our biggest frontier as pioneers in really learning what is a relationship and how can we be deeply connected. You might ask, why study trauma and attachment? Well, I think those two topics get in our way from really being the most we can be, the most expanded part of ourselves. And when we have unresolved trauma, it can just limit our lives in a pretty major way. And when we have unresolved attachment histories, where really our original relational blueprint comes from, then these patterns that might not be serving us so well have a tendency to sneak into our adult relationships, especially our significant others, especially our marriage partners, especially people that we're spending our most intimate time with. So it's really worthwhile to take a look at where did this come from, make it a little bit more conscious, and then bring an understanding to how we can help ourselves heal and move in the direction of regaining healthy attachment patterns that will benefit from the rest of our lives and all of our relationships. So I'd like to invite you on this journey to understand where our relationship template comes from and how we can benefit from this investigation into our history and bring it into a much more productive and fun and fulfilling relationship space with people that we love. One of the things that happens when we have any kind of trauma, or relational trauma would be like attachment injury, is that one part of it is that our nervous system gets deregulated. So if normally we're kind of modulated, we're able to manage a certain level of stress and kind of take it in stride and, move through it and maybe have a little bit of upset that it resolves. Sometimes when things are a little bit more intense, like maybe there's a big betrayal in a relationship, or there's been an abandonment or neglect, or other traumas like car accidents or surgeries, whatever, our nervous system that's kind of in that middle range starts to get like a zigzag, starts to get out of balance. And one of the ways it gets out of balance is the sympathetic nervous system, part of the way we regulate ourselves and our bodies biologically, gets overactivated. We also have the parasympathetic that can take a deep dive like into depression or shutdown. But sympathetic will tend to take us to panic, anxiety, sometimes anger or rage. It's sort of an extreme of an emotional state. And then that's one of the things that we want to learn to help ourselves calm down, or help our partners calm down, or other people in our life to calm that sympathetic nervous system. That's something we'll talk about throughout the discussion today in terms of how we self-soothe, how we regulate ourselves, how we manage stress in general. And one of the challenges with anxiety in particular is when we start to feel it, it's not the most comfortable feeling, right? So we tend to, anxiety can sort of like be a wave that moves through your body and just discharges or releases. But often when we start to feel panicky or anxiety, we sort of constrict against it, and then it just sort of builds on itself. So that's the other reason it's important to talk about nervous system regulation